3.3, 6.6, 9.9, 13.3. And welcome back to another video here from the off-grid garage in Australia. It's the total opposite of sunny hot. We've got rain for days now, drizzle, showers, everything, you name it. Look at this, today for example, battery is on 30%. 30%. And I have made 6.8 kilowatt hours and used 7.1 already. There's no solar weather here at all, nothing. I should think about building a dam and a water turbine. Anyway, as promised in the last video, we are going to have a look at the Ciabatta BMS, the JBD BMS, as some people say. Here it is. I bought this from AliExpress recently because we need a second 4S BMS for our test on Sunday. But before that, I want to just explore the functions and features of this BMS here. Want to see if everything works, how it works. And I have already connected our test Palo cells number 1, 2, 3 and 4 here. I have measured the voltages. This is all perfectly and confirmed. And I think we can now plug in the balance cables to the BMS to start it up. In the manual, it says especially to connect the B- cables first. I'm not sure if this is a general rule for BMSs, but I usually forget to connect the B- cable and I hook in all the balance cables and then I wonder why cell number 1 is not reporting correctly. We should stick with what's in the manual, right? We don't want to have any magic smoke here on the bench. I should plug in the Bluetooth. And I don't know what this one is for here. This looks like an... I don't know. Okay, so this goes into our UART port. Okay, Bluetooth. I think that's the same Bluetooth module as in the QUCC BMS here. It looks very, very much the same. This is all coming from the same Chinese factory, I believe. Okay, let's do it. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, it is plugged in now. And there's nothing. No beep, no smoke, no smell, which is good. Okay, next thing would be, I'll start the screen recording, hang on. Yeah, all right. Oh, look at this, we've got 2 XiauXiang BMSs now where I can connect to. I think the one with the lower number, so the -60 must be the one further away, right? Okay, let's click on this one and hope it connects to our old battery. It does. Yeah, this is our 52.5 volt battery. Okay, let's start again. And this time we connect to, hey, come on. And see if this is our Ciabatta BMS. Oh, yes, it is. First setup. Very interesting. Okay, 5.5. Cycle capacity 5.5. I usually oh, there's no, it doesn't. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, then we put in 5 only. It doesn't use any commas, nothing. Here the Bluetooth is actually on, blue light. That's why it's called Bluetooth. Because I want to see the real cycle capacity. Otherwise it tells you it is on 0%, but there's still 1 ampere hour missing. So I want the real numbers and I decide when to turn off the battery. Oh, that is cute. Look at this. We've got only 4 cells down there. Okay, function settings. Balance is turned on. Temperature sensors are turned on. Quickly test the temperature sensors. Holding this one. Yep, temperature goes up. Okay, let's go into the parameter view. That should be exactly the same as for the other QUCC BMS now. But this time we have MOSFETs in here, so we can actually manually turn off and turn on load and charging. Okay, over voltage 3.65, that's fine. Over voltage release 3.5. Do we need pack over voltage at all? It doesn't make sense to me at all. Because if we set a cell over voltage, that should be enough. 14.6 is fine, that's 3.65 times 4, right? Pack under voltage 10 volts, 2.5 times 4, Temperatures, okay, we can have a look at the temperatures later on. Charge over current 110 amps. That should not be more than 3 amps. Discharge, and we don't want to pull more than 25 amps from this battery pack. Balance turn on voltage. Look at this, huh? 3.5 volts, turn on balance, and balance in precision. As always, we're going down to 1 millivolt deviation. Well, this is all not too important here. Okay, so far this looks all very good, right? And here we've got discharge, bang. We cannot discharge anymore. Discharge back on, charging, turn off, turn on. See, in this case, it makes totally sense to have these two buttons here to turn off charging and discharging manually. Okay, now we've got a crocodile clamp. Nice. Make some space for the lights. All right, yeah, okay, so I've got my lights connected now to the negative here, to C minus, and to the battery plus. If we turn on the discharge button now again, we should see the lights coming on. There you are, and I turn them off again, off. So I can actually now turn off and turn on the load manually and leave the charging connected. Okay, so we are now charging with 14 volts, 0.7 of an amp. And if I turn off the charger here on the app, yeah, it turns off charging straight away. Bang. This does not work with the QUCC BMS at all because it has only one relay. So I cannot turn off charging and discharging individually, which is always, since the beginning, a big issue. It is a big problem. And this is so much nicer with these MOSFET BMSs here. Unless you buy the QUCC BMS with 2 relays. And then these switches on the app work as well just fine. Okay, so I would say we leave this charging for a while here and see how we go. Is this getting... No, this is not. No. Yeah, 580 milliamps we are charging, and the BMS even shows 0.5, 0.6 of an amp. Look at this, how far this one goes down. The QUCC doesn't show anything below 2.2 amps, but this one goes fairly low. I wonder how low. Okay, let me decrease the amps. We're going to see 0.4. We do! Oh, it turns off now. Okay. There you go. 0.4, 0.5, 0.4. 470 milliamps. Oh yeah, it turns off. So this is the threshold the BMS still measures, or shows in the app at least. Okay, so the first test will be to set this battery here up exactly the same way as I have my QUCC and the big battery. So we are charging to 3.45 volts and absorb. And so 3.45 times 4 is 13.8 volts. This is what I have set here, constant voltage. And also in the app I have set 3.46 volt as the balance turn on voltage. I'm going to reconnect my charger negative here, and we are charging with half an amp only. Oh, okay, we can increase this a little bit, probably to 1 amp. So maximum charge rate for these Palo cells is 3 amps. Okay, and let's see what the app says here. 3 millivolt deviation we have. Woo, that is nice. I'm not sure how balanced this pack actually is here. To be honest, I can't remember what we did with the battery the last time. 3.4 we are. And look at this. I click on the... Here. I click on the charger button in the app, and charging stops. Isn't that amazing? Turn back on the charger and it charges with 1 amp. How good is that? Oh, it just came back, and we are already at 13.8 volt. The power supply has changed to constant voltage now from constant current, and the current is tapering down. What our voltage is doing here on the BMS, 4.53, 4.59, and there we can see the balancer kicking in. Cell number 4, it's getting balanced. I think the balance current in the Ciabatta is only 60 milliamps or something, so it's very small passive balance current. And yeah, let's see what's happening here now. 13.8 volt, and number 3 is our highest cell, number 2 is our lowest cell. We are still charging with 400 milliamps. Okay, so voltage deviation 36, 37, still rising because we are still charging. Where's the balancer not in anymore? I think we have to turn off charge balance, right? Otherwise it behaves like the JDB-BMS, and it balances only while charging. See, the balancer kicks in right away. Let me try this again here. Charge balance, turn on, and we are going back, and no balancing because the app doesn't show any any charge current at the moment. Very the same behavior as the JDB-BMS, which is totally shit. At least here I have the possibility to turn off and turn on charge current, which is super nice. And then I can turn it off and see the balancer kicks in. Number 1 and 2 are balanced, number 1 and 3 are balanced at the moment. I don't know why number 4 is not being balanced at the moment. Usually with the QUCC it changes from the left side to the right side from time to time. And deviation is still rising. We are charging with 170 milliamps. Okay, we just leave this running. As long as no battery is going out of spec, we are fine. I'll be back soon. Okay, we've got a bit of a weird behavior here. As you can see, we are balancing only cell number 1 at the moment, but not any of the other ones. I have used the light bulbs here to discharge number 3, just to see if number 4 gets balanced then, because clearly number 1 and number 4 are over 3.46 volts. So they both should be balanced, right? But they are clearly not. Let's discharge number 1 here for a second and see what happens then. See, when I connect the light bulb, the voltage goes down immediately at number 1. There it goes down, and then number 4 is our highest and gets balanced. Looks like it's balancing only the highest cell at the moment, but before we have seen that it actually has balanced 2 cells at the same time. So not sure what's going on here. Here now we can see, now it's working. For some reason now it's working. Cell number 4 and then cell number 1 and number 3 are being balanced. There we go. It changes left and right now as it should be. That's the behavior I know from the QUCC. So I'm not sure why it didn't work before. That's a bit strange, right? We are still charging with 70 milliamps. Yeah, 70, and we've got 80 millivolt deviation here. So cell number 2 probably will not catch up here. I'm not sure. I just leave it running for a while and see if the deviation actually goes down. Because you've got a constant voltage charging now, 13.82 volts. Yeah, 13.82 volts. And 60 milliamps going only in. But 60 milliamps is also the balance current of the BMS. So that should all work out, right? The deviation should actually come down. Okay, let's give it half an hour and see what we have then. So I'm just having a look at the specs for this BMS here. Yeah, the equilibrium current 40 to 60 milliamps only. This is the balance current. It wasn't too important for me because, well, we know it is working because I just can leave the BMS running overnight and it will balance my Palo cells just fine. Is there anything else of interest here? I don't think so. Over current protection, temperature protection. Yeah, this is all standard. So, and now after a little bit over an hour, I would say, we are down to 14, 8, 16, 10 millivolt deviation. Well, anyway, deviation has gone down from 100 millivolt to about 10 millivolt in a bit over an hour. So this is actually a very good method to balance your battery. You set your power supply to 13.8 volt, for example, here for a 12 volt battery. Leave it sitting there and then turn the balancer on and let the battery just balance, and overnight it will perfectly balance until the next morning without you doing anything. Yeah, I've done this 100 times with the QUCC BMS. It works just fine. And this is a big disadvantage of the DALI BMS, because you cannot do that. It doesn't have the automatic balancing function as all the other BMSs have, even the Ciabatta BMS from Italy. Now you can see here it balances all 4 cells now, because they're all over 3.46 volts. Okay, so the next test will be increase the voltage to 14.4, which is then 3.6 volts. I just want to see what the BMS does. So we start the recording here on the BMS again, and now we are changing the voltage to 14.4. Okay, we connect the positive again, and we're charging with 1 amp. Let's see what the BMS does and the balancing function. So we should be seeing an increase because the cells are very well balanced now. They should actually stay close together. I'm not expecting a big deviation coming up anymore. 3.45 we had set before as the maximum cell voltage. And this is already in this steep part of the curve. And now we have hit 3.6 volts here already. I need to set the balancer differently. Here, 3 point. Yeah, we can set this now to 3.61, for example. Yeah, 3.6 is our cell voltage under optimal conditions, and 3.61 would be our balance voltage. Confirm. Then we go back, and yeah, all the cells are over 3.6 volts. Charging current has dropped down to 50 milliamps only. Perfect, 21 millivolt deviation. That's totally acceptable. All right, let's increase the voltage slowly to 14.6 volts, and we should see, as soon as one of the cells hits 3.65, it should turn off the charger. Let's see if this works. Okay, we're increasing the voltage. 14.5 we have. We're going further. Okay, 14.6, exactly 14.6. And the BMS has turned off. The charging has stopped. I could see the amps actually dropping on the power supply. And now I think we have to wait until 3.6 volts until it turns on again. Just connect our lights here for a moment. Yep, there it turns on again. And then it turns off again. Yep. Okay, let's do it again here. Discharging. There we go. And now it's charging again. Yep. Cell number 4, 3.65, and then the charger turns off. Perfect. And as you can see, I can still attach my lights here, and the lights are still working. Even the charger has turned off because of over voltage, but I can still discharge the battery here with the BMS. So perfectly fine, as expected from the MOSFET version of the Ciabatta BMS. Nice, I like it. Well, so far I must say it is a very straightforward setup BMS here. Basic functions, balancing current, very small, but effective with these kind of cells at least. Over voltage protection, turns off the charger but leaves the load connected. And I'm sure it will be the same the other way around. If we discharge the battery, it will turn off the load but keeps the charger then connected to recharge the battery. And here's our protection. We can see the cell over voltage times 5. 5 times we have triggered this safety feature. Okay, so what I've now done is I set the charging over temperature to 30 degrees and the charging over temperature release on 28. So I would expect the charger will turn off if we go over 30 degrees, right? That's how I read this. Okay, so let me touch this one here and see what the temperature does. Yep, this is the one with the blue circle there. 30 degrees, 31. Oh, it's not. Okay, maybe it's the other one here, huh? No. It's still charging. It is still charging. It doesn't react to the temperature sensors. Okay, let's do both. Okay, is there a setting I need to set? There might be an internal temperature sensor as well. I don't know why it's not turning off. Everything seems to be fine here. Okay, I think we are too low here. 30 degrees is too low what we can set. Okay, then let's go to 50. What I don't like is this one does not have an audible alarm, beeper, buzzer, nothing. So you never know what state it is in. 51, 53, it is still 58, 60, it is still running. It is still charging. Why is this still charging? Okay guys, leave your comments down below if you have got a Ciabatta BMS as well, and if your over temperature sensors are actually working. These ones don't seem to work at all. There's no reaction. We are still charging here. Okay, discharge over current. We set this one to 5 amps because I know the lights here, they are pulling 8 amps. And this needs to be for 10 seconds. And then there's a release for 32 seconds. I don't know how these numbers work actually. Well, we will find out. Okay, 8 amps. We are discharging. There could be the 10-second delay now. Yep, turns off. Bang. And now I think it takes another 32 seconds until it tries again and see if the load is still so high. Because I can disconnect the loads now and reconnect the load, and it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. You can see the discharge button is actually turned off. And let's see if it turns on after another 15 seconds or so. Yep, there it turns on again. Okay, that's working. Okay, let's do the same with the charging current. Charge over current. We set this one to 1.2 amps, right? 1.2 amps. And then we've got 10-second delay, and then we've got a 5-second delay until it re-triggers. That makes sense to me. All right, we're still charging anyway. I'm just cranking up the charging current here. Okay, we are close. 1 amp, 1.1, 1.2. Okay, let's leave it there for a moment. 10 seconds delay and see if the charger actually turns off. I need to go a little bit higher maybe. Okay, 1.25. Yeah, this is 1.3 now. So we are charging with 1.3 amps and it should actually turn off, right? It should turn off. Oh, come on, Ciabatta. Come on. This is all basic functionality. It should just work. Let's check the parameters again here inside the settings. Why is this so complicated? It's just a piece of shitty software. There, charge over current 1.2 amps for 10 seconds. And then we've got a release after 5 seconds again. The discharge over current works, but not the charge current. Okay, let's go a little bit higher. 1.5 amps we are now charging with. And still no. Now it disconnects. So what's the trigger point here? 1.4. Let's see. Yep, there it turns off. Okay. And then 5 seconds later it turns back on again. Yep, that works. Okay, let's go a little bit lower. 1.3 here. Yep, now it works. Okay, I was just not high enough with my current. Okay, that works perfectly fine. Okay, then there's only one test missing, right? Okay, we are now coming to the end of the Ciabatta BMS test series, and we conclude this with Will Pro's favorite test, the frozen bean. It's the under temperature disconnect test. And as always, as approved by Andy's garage here, we have to use an ice cold spat. Oh yeah, that is nice and cold. But before we have to check the parameters, I'm not sure how cold this is. It was in the freezer for only about 40 minutes or so. We may not reach the standard 2 degrees Celsius actually we had in other tests. Yeah, charging under temperature. Okay, let's set this one here to, let's be optimistic, 4 degrees Celsius, right? 4 degrees. And then if we go over 10 degrees again, we start charging again. Under temperature release delay 2 seconds, that's fine. I have no idea how cold this is. We will find out in a second. Okay, best moment of the day. Yeah, and here it goes. Oh, nice. Oh. Okay, temperature is dropping 10 degrees. 10 degrees. 10. It is definitely not 10 degrees cold only. 10. What? Wait, hang on here. Let me check. There's definitely colder than 10 degrees. Well, I don't know what's going on here with these temperature sensors. Oh, there's no beer in there anymore. Hang on. To measure a little bit lower here. This one says 11 as well. What is wrong with me? Okay, let's set this one here then to 12 degrees to 15 degrees. So charging under temperature 12 degrees. That is embarrassing. Who drinks 12-degree warm beer? That is disgusting, right? Fresh juice here. Come on. 9 degrees. Still charging. We are still charging. Come on, Ciabatta. What is wrong with you? Charging with 200 milliamps here. It is crazy. Okay, let's go a little bit higher here. Ah, now it turns off. What is going on there? Ah, maybe it needs to show a charging current here so it works. You know, we have seen this in the DALI BMS already. Only if the app shows the current, it actually balances. Is this a similar thing here? Crazy. 15 degrees and the charging button comes on again. We are charging 0.5, 0.6 amps. And back in, just one. Okay, this one doesn't do anything. It may be still turned off. Okay, let's try this one. Back in. Temperature is falling. Yep, there it goes. Charging has turned off. I wonder if this is the same case when we had the high temperature test. Oh, let's test this. Whew. Okay, let's try again. Heat it up to 50 degrees and see, we are charging. We are charging 45, 50. Yep, Yep. It has turned off charging. Okay, so this is all working. All right, boys and girls. So far the testing today with the Ciabatta JBD BMS here. All tests have passed. You just need to know how it works. And this is why I made this test before, so I know what to expect when we do the big test on Sunday morning then. So here again, it is a flaw that you need to have the app showing an amperage like now, and then the temperature sensors are working for charging and discharging disconnect. So potentially, if you go under the threshold, like you charge with 0.4 amps only, the app doesn't show you anything, any current, and the temperature safety mechanisms are not working anymore. What could happen? Well, if you are in a cold climate and your battery is really cold now and you start charging with 0.4 amps, your Palo cells will die. The battery could be potentially at minus 10 degrees now, and you start charging with 0.4 amps, this will kill them. And the same if you are in a hot climate like here and you have the Palo cells in the front gate for the automatic solar gate. It keeps charging the battery with 0.4 amps, even they are cooking inside this box. And the current is under the threshold the app would show, and it keeps charging. It will never disconnect the battery. I think this is not acceptable and can be easily fixed by a software update, right? Yeah, I just went through the whole list of all 52 parameters we can set here in the BMS, and there is nowhere a threshold we can set which actually changes the behavior of your display here. So it needs this 450, 500 milliamps until it shows a number, and then only then the temperature sensors will work. This would not be a deal breaker for me because I don't have the problems with high or low temperatures here in Australia. If you are living in an environment where you have these lower temperatures, it's a bit risky, you know. The battery could still be charged, and if it's under the 0.4, 0.5 amps, the app won't detect it, so the actual trigger point to disconnect your charger won't happen. So there's a good chance. I don't like this, you know. The Ciabatta, I thought this one would deliver, you know. It would be a good BMS. Many people have bought the JBD BMSs, but this is a feature I don't like. That's a bug. I also figured out why these numbers are jumping back and forward all the time here by like 20 millivolts. As soon as I turn off the enable balancer, as soon as I turn off the balancer, it is not happening anymore. Totally steady. Look at this. No bouncing up and down anymore. Nothing. Even we are still charging a little tiny bit. If I increase the voltage to 14.6, yeah, I'm charging with 100 milliamps now. There's no bouncing up and down anymore. It all works well. So this has something to do with the balancing function of the BMS. Obviously, when the balancer kicks in, so the balance current has obviously some influence on the voltage it measures, and that's why we see the voltages going up and down. I don't know, the QUCC doesn't do that, and the JK-BMS didn't do that. It wasn't overly expensive. This was the cheapest BMS I ever bought. This is actually cheaper than the Dali. Yeah, $93.79, including shipping of $1.63. It somehow works for them. Okay, boys and girls, I think I've got a pretty good understanding now how the BMS works, what it can do, what it can't do. It seems to work just fine for what I need it for. I'm disappointed with the temperature control, the temperature safety mechanisms here in the BMS, as we have just found out. But apart from that, everything else, overcurrent, under protection, under voltage protection, everything seems to work just fine. So totally suitable for my test on Sunday. But I thought I'd give it a full test and do a little bit of a review here, experience sharing here on the channel, so you guys know where the limitations are of this BMS. Alright guys, yeah, please leave your comments down under this video if you have the Ciabatta BMS as well, the JBD BMS, as some say, and if you have made any experience with these sort of temperature control safety mechanisms as well, not correctly working if there is a low current only flowing. I'm not sure if this is a big issue. It might be. As always guys, thanks for all your support, all your help, all your comments, all your emails, all your likes and dislikes and everything to support here the channel. It is all very much appreciated. Until the next video guys, stay charged, stay safe, and thank you for watching again. See you on Sunday morning. It will be Sunday evening for you in the US or any other. The video is coming out on Monday morning, 5 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time. As always, thank you for watching. See you then. Bye bye. I actually wonder if this problem exists with the JK-BMS as well, and it only disconnects at low or high temperatures if the app shows a charging or discharging current.